Okay. Yeah, so we're starting on our backs. There were two blocks underneath. You smooth out your shoulder blades. So just for all of you, we're starting to start in a restful place. It's an opener and it's opening our bodies, but we want it to be restful. So if wherever you are, it feels like, oh, this is pretty intense for me to start in, you might opt for a different option. So I'm going to get our friends online on board with where we're at. Welcome everyone to Community Yoga Friday afternoon. Because of this gray, I don't know wherever you're tuning in from, but here in the studio, it's gray sky. So we're going to work on just finding some of our own inner light. Yogis say it's all in there. We just have to uncover it. So we'll be doing a heart opening series today. And so that's why we're starting on our back. So if you're at home, you might start with a blanket roll underneath your shoulder blades. Or the setup with two blocks, one block on the lower level and one block on the higher level. Check in with your low back. If your ankles are crossed, uncross your ankles. You could certainly also bend your knees, feet on the floor, if that feels more comfortable for your low back. And then as you take a moment to settle in, see if you can feel your shoulder blades come underneath you even more. Almost as if those shoulder blades are drawing in towards one another. Right, so we're starting in this nice position on the back. And just an encouragement that, here we are on a Friday afternoon, no matter what has unfolded this week. Just giving yourself permission to soften it and release it. Let it go for the time being. You can always come back to it if you so choose. But for the next hour, what we are going to hone our attention toward is our breath and our body. So when we really ground our attention and we align it with the rhythm of our breathing or the sensation that's unfolding in our body, we naturally align with the present moment. And we can say that most of our suffering occurs when our minds are drawn into worry and fear of future, or when our minds are drawn into the past that we can no longer change. So just think about you're carving out an hour for yourself. You're just here. You're in the present with your body, with your breath. And of course, mind, there's going to be things that come across the mind, thoughts, patterns, stories. That will happen. And when that happens, I'll be here reminding you to anchor back into your breath. and your body. So let's do just a moment to check in with our body and sensations that might be present for you right now. And we'll start at the feet. Notice the sensation of your feet and where your feet are touching the floor. Might be the heels of the feet. It might be the entire bottom of the foot if your knees are bent. See if you can pay attention to the temperature of the feet. And then watch how just by bringing your consciousness and your awareness into the feet can actually start to relax a little bit. If there's been tension in the feet can begin to soften. So we always want to start at the root in any yoga pose. We always work poses from the bottom up. So we're starting in the feet, the base. And from here, let your attention now move up through your ankles, your knees, to your pelvis. And start to move our awareness up the spine into the region of the heart space. So physiologically, not necessarily the space of the true heart, but the space right behind the breastbone. Energetic center of the heart. And just see if you can notice sensation here. Sometimes there's a real lack of sensation here, which is okay. We're just observing. And then letting your awareness move up a little higher now to where your head is touching the floor or a block. And just notice if you can feel the sensation of your head resting on something. So yoga is somewhat of a progressive model, which I really appreciate. And there is a sort of particular order. We start in the body, which we've just done. We started to land more awareness in the body, and then we move into the breath. So now we start to deepen the breath, whatever that means for you. And sometimes it can help to place your hands on your abdomen if you like the visceral sensation of your hands touching the belly. So as you inhale, it's as if you're breathing into your hands, feeling the expansion. And there's been a lot of stress for you lately. You may be breathing primarily in the chest, which is what happens to all of us. And so you might take a couple moments just seeing, could I actually consciously attempt to breathe into my abdomen? You might also observe that it's possible to slow your exhale down. So using, again, your consciousness, your awareness, you can start to make your exhale just a little longer. All right, we've been in this heart opening position here for at least 5. Some of you got in before class started, so maybe 8 minutes. So take a moment just to bring a little bit of movement into your fingers and your toes. If your eyes are closed, you can let your eyes blink open and just take in the light and the space around you. We want to let ourselves really land in this space. So we're not only landing in whatever space we're practicing in, but we're starting to land in that space within us, that inner space, which we're going to attempt to create more space. So once you've begun to awaken your extremities, then you can roll off onto one side. So if you're on blocks, roll off those blocks. If you're on a blanket roll off to one side and use the strength of your arms to push you up to all fours. And so take your time. We were just in kind of a long restorative start. So take your time making your way to all fours. And then once you get to all fours, you can place all those props I asked you to get, all the blankets and the blocks, just put them off to the side. We will come back to them, I promise. And as we start on all fours, we start in a very simple sequence called nonlinear movement. Nonlinear movement is just movement of the body, and there's sort of two foundational suggestions. The first one is keep your eyes closed. And the second one is just let your body move. You can't do this wrong. There's no wrong way to do this. It might just be swaying side to side. It might be circles in the hips. Might be none of what I just mentioned. So the skill is my eyes are closed and I'm just sort of feeling my way into how my body might want to move. And for those of you who are quite experienced at nonlinear movement, just paying attention to how your body wants to move today. Every day, a slightly different body. Movements can be very small. Movements might get bigger the longer you're spending here. See if you can get out of your head. Again, it's kind of strange for us to hear. You can't do this wrong, but it's really true. There's not a right way to do this. There's not an ideal way to do this. It's just movement, which is inherent to being a human, is moving through the world. So here on all fours, just letting the body move. Be here for just less than a minute more. And just an encouragement to drop back in when the mind takes over and starts taking you on a trip somewhere. You settle back into sensation. You settle back into the sound of your breath or the sensation of the breath in the body. And again, an invitation, there's nothing you have to figure out, fix, or make sense of in your life in this next hour. This is just you connecting in the moment with your breath and your body. In a moment, I'll talk you through a sequence of cat-cow. And again, if you're familiar with cat-cow, just go at your own pace or keep doing what you're doing in nonlinear movement. We're wanting to start to open up and warm the spine. So as you inhale, the pelvis tilts and the heart lifts. There's an expansion of the heart. And as you exhale, rounding the back, feeling the pelvis tuck under, the chin tuck towards the chest. And then you repeat, inhale, tilt pelvis, lift heart. Exhale, round. Let's do 3 more sets of these. And again, you can be at your own pace in tandem with your own natural breath cycle. And then after this third round, we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So when you're ready, And walk your hands forward so your wrists come forward of your shoulders. Curl your toes under and lift into your first downward facing dog. So hips lift up and stretch back. Yep, and you can release your head so it's in alignment with your ears are in alignment with your upper arms. Feel your thighs moving back. So thighs are moving back, spine is growing nice and long. We'll take a full breath in, and then on this exhale, knees come down to the mat. We take the knees wide, big toes touch, hips sink back towards the heels into child's pose. Forehead on the floor or forehead on a block. All right, so settle in here. And if you're familiar with ocean sounding breath, you might start to listen in to the sound of your own breath. I always think, especially on Friday afternoons, it's a time to sort of let our bodies catch up with our minds. If you think about it, the body's much more dense. Our bodies take much longer to change and shift than our minds. And so as we move slowly today, as we bring more attention to the body, we're trying to allow the body in some ways to catch up with all that's unfolded this week in your mind. So stay here for a couple more breaths. Okay, so from child's pose, begin to walk your hands back towards your knees. As you come all the way back up, right, you can come back through all fours and then back up through downward facing dog. And then down dog, take your feet nice and wide. So your feet literally are all the way towards the edges of the mat. So you have a nice wide stance with your feet. And then sway your hips side to side. So let your hips sway side to side, trying to free up low back, sacral area, hips. And from this wide-legged downward facing dog, begin to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. So we're going to arrive in Uttanasana, forward fold, at the back of the mat. And you can take your feet as wide as they need to be. You can also bend your knees if the hamstrings are really screaming at you here. So hands are walking back towards feet into a forward fold. In a moment, we're going to come up to standing. But before we do that, shake out the head, relax the face. That's it. Bend the knees, and with an inhale, sweep arms forward, come all the way up. And then exhale, hands down right in front of the heart. Let's release our hands, bring feet together, work your way up to the front of the mat. And once we come to the front of the mat into mountain pose, hands just in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. Thumbs are resting on the sternum. Look down at your feet. They're about hip distance width apart. Toes are spread. Legs are firm. Nice neutral pelvis, long spine. Roll those shoulders back a little bit. All right, let's start to warm the body. Inhale, arms stretch up into the sky. As you exhale, release the hands, forward folding back into Uttanasana. On an inhale, look up halfway lift. On an exhale, fold back into yourself. And then step your left foot back into a deep lunge. And as you step your left foot back into deep lunge, you might like blocks underneath your hands. So I think most people have 2 blocks. With blocks underneath your hands, you can actually get a little more lift. I'm going to give you more of mine here. Yeah. All right, from here, let the back knee come down to the mat and bring your right foot off to the right. Turn your toes out just a little bit. And we'll start upright here, just letting the pelvis move forward and back. And then maybe letting the pelvis move side to side. You could even start to experiment with some circles here. Hip region is such an area of tightness and tension in the body. So really dropping, again, attention awareness down into where things feel constricted to you. And if you want more sensation, you'll lower your forearms down onto the mat, go lower. Or you might even lift your back knee away from the mat. None of that is necessary. You can stay upright and get perfectly good stretch, but this is your practice. So tap into what feels like it's going to be of highest service to you. Just a little tip here, when we open our hips, it's very common to clench your jaw. So keep your jaw nice and soft. Keep your tongue maybe at the roof of the mouth behind your two front teeth, tip of the tongue up there. I'll keep you from clenching, controlling all those behaviors we're accustomed to. All right, let's take a breath here. And then if you're on your forearms, lift back up. Walk your right foot back towards the center of the mat. This is where you're gonna like those blocks again underneath your hands. Lift your back knee, slide it back a few inches, and then see about straightening the front leg. So right leg, so back knee's on the floor, yep. And front leg is straight. And then we're gonna move in and out. So as you inhale, you might bend into this front knee. And as you exhale, straighten the leg, pull the pelvis back. So we'll keep going here. Inhale, bending into the front knee. As you exhale, straighten that leg, pelvis pulls back. Let's do this a couple more times. I always think about when we move in and out of pose like this, it's almost like we're trying to coax the body open. We're not forcing anything. Maybe each time you go just a little bit deeper. And then the next time the front leg is straight, you can stay there. The right heel is pressing down, toes of the right foot are spread, hands pressing into the floor, into those blocks. Sort of think about this right heel dragging back just a little bit. It's not really going to move very much because it's on a sticky mat, but you're dragging the heel back. And then feel your navel, your heart extend forward. On an exhale, you might fold deeper over that front leg. And any little micro movements here that feel like they help you open and soften, feel the freedom to do so. Take a deep breath in, and on an exhale, take it out of the hamstring, bend into the right knee, lift the back knee, we'll get back in a deep lunge. Step back through downward facing dog. Yeah, hands off the blocks, hands are pressing into the floor, eyes are moving back. Feel free to walk, bend one knee and stretch the opposite hip back and reverse on the other side. We call this walk out your dog. Let's buzz our lips a couple times. Good. And then on an inhale, left foot steps between the hands, deep lunge. Left foot steps between the hands. Lower the back knee down, rise up. Oh, sorry, we're staying down. This is the old pattern, rise up. We're gonna stay down. We're gonna stretch the hip on the other side. Turn your left toes out. So we're in an external rotation. So left toes turn out. And then start by just letting the pelvis move forward and back, maybe side to side, maybe some circles. And then if you'd like to go, you want to try a little bit deeper, coming down onto forearms. You can even come forearms on a block. That's a nice variation. I always tell people you want to have sensation in the body, but not so intense that you can't breathe through it. You want to be able to keep your breath really flowing. And if you feel any clenching in the face, maybe is a sign that you've gone a little far, you can back off. There's no destination here. It's all a process of just opening up. All right, let's take a full breath in here. Exhale, stay. And then on an inhale, come up, back out. So back onto, if you're on your forearms, come back to your hands. Lift your back knee and slide it back just a couple inches to see about straightening this front left leg. And then here's where we'll start to move in and out a couple of times. So as you inhale, bending into that left knee. And as you exhale, straighten the front leg. I call this pendulation. So we pendulate back and forth from one end to the other. And so on the inhale, that might be what bends into your front knee, heart lifts. And as you exhale, almost like a rounding, pulling of the pelvis back. Stay in your body, in your system, stay with the sensation, stay with the breath. Again, that's our core focus. Can I just stay with my body and my breath? Next time your front leg is straight, stay. So again, hands might be on blocks. Heel is pulling back, heart is extending forward. Nice soft jaw, take a breath in. As you exhale, maybe folding deeper over this front leg. Bending into the front knee on an inhale, lift the back knee. We're in a deep lunge. From here, step the back foot forward to meet the front foot. Coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. So head shakes out. You can have blocks underneath the hands if that's useful for you. Observe the sensation of your feet on the mat. Again, feet are hip distance width apart. The toes are slightly spread. Bend into your knees, and with an inhale, sweep the arms, come all the way up to stand. Beautiful. Exhale, hands down right in front of the heart. Release the hands, look down at your feet, and now bring your feet together. So now inner edges of the feet are together. Toes are spread, legs are firm. Inhale, arms up into the sky. Interlace fingers, pointer finger towards the sky. So Kali Mudra. Palms are pressing together. Take a breath in. As we exhale, lean to the left. So hips are going to stretch over to the right. Inhale, we come back through center. On the exhale, over to the right. So feeling that big stretch up your left side. We're going to repeat. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Coming back through center. Inhale. This time as you exhale, release your hands. I call them W arms. Pull your shoulder blades onto your back. Heart lifts. And then inhale, we stretch up again. Good. Exhale, elbows bend. Do two more of these. Inhale. Exhale. Last one here. Inhale. This time on the exhale, as you bend the elbows, also bend the knees. So we come back into a chair pose. Now keep your knees bent, straighten your arms. So inner knees hug in towards one another. Hips move back. Good. Think about your sit bones attempting to lift up towards the sky so you get a nice big curve in your low back. You take a breath in. Exhale, maybe sink just a little deeper. Now inhale, rise up. And now exhale, hinge forward at the hips, fold into Uttanasana. Again, hands can touch the earth or a block. On an inhale, look up halfway. On an exhale, fold. Good. Left foot steps back, deep lunge. And as the left foot steps back, again, blocks in your hands can be really helpful. If that feels better for your body to have your hands on blocks, by all means, feel the space and freedom to do that. All right, turn the back foot down. And from here, we're going to rise up. And as you rise up, hands can start on your hips to begin with. Look down at your feet and line up your feet so your right heel intersects your left arch. Right heel intersects your left arch. Good. Really good, everyone. Inhale, arms up, shoulder height. As you exhale, bend into your right knee. We're going to again move in and out. Inhale, rise up. Now, as you exhale and bend into that right knee, make sure it doesn't go forward of the ankle. It stops right above the ankle. Inhale, rise up. Good. Exhale, bend. Do this one more time. Inhale. Now we're going to stay. So as you exhale, bending into that right ankle, turn your palms towards the sky. Let your awareness lift up through your crown. Take a breath in. Exhale, stay. And take another breath in. This time on the exhale, hands windmill down in alignment with your front foot. Step back to down dog. Let yourself pause here. Yep, hands back on the floor. Hands pressing down, thighs moving back. So it's as if you're attempting to lift your hips up towards the sky and root them back towards the wall behind you. Fingers are spread nice and wide, so you've got a nice solid foundation. On an inhale, coming forward to plank. So we come forward to plank. Now shoulders are over wrist. And on an exhale, lift the hips up and back to dog. Inhale forward, plank. Beautiful. Exhale back to dog. Inhale forward to plank. Lower all the way down onto your belly. First, go around on our belly. I like to take feet wide and hands wide. So your hands might even come off of your mat. I always say a tented hand, so you're on your fingertips. Inhale, rise up. And then let your torso move side to side. I encourage you to close your eyes. It's sort of like that non-linear movement where you're letting your spine sort of undulate side to side. Some of you might like to shake your spine out a little bit. You can twist, look over your shoulders towards your feet. Just like our bodies tend to store a lot of tension in the hips, clearly we all hold some tension up that spine as well. So I feel like this first variation gives us a little window into, where am I carrying some of that stress today? Let's take a nice deep breath in. And then on the exhale, slowly lower down, belly first, then chest. Then we're going to turn onto one cheek and let the arms rest at the side of the body. Feel those shoulders relax down towards the earth. Close the eyes. So now as we're prone here on the floor, bring your awareness back to your breath. So now prime focus is on the breath. With your belly engaged with the floor, it's almost as if you're trying to expand your abdomen into the earth as you breathe in. Nice big breath in. As you exhale, imagine you're blowing out tension, stress, overwhelm, not knowing, doubt. Let some of it go on the exhale. And do that one more breath on the current cheek that you're on. And then you'll turn the other cheek, come onto the other cheek. Often this side, it doesn't feel the same because we tend to have one direction that maybe is more comfortable. So reestablish soft body, shoulders are relaxed, glutes, no more tension in those buttocks. Nice soft body. And then the focus is breathing into the abdomen. So breathing deeply into the belly. And on the exhale, there's a natural softening, natural ease. I say every exhale is an opportunity for us to blow out what isn't us, to release what isn't working. You don't even have to consciously know what all that is. It's just trusting and breathing it away. Breathing it away. All right, take one more conscious breath here, breathing fully into the belly. Slow that exhale down, really milk the exhale, enjoy that exhale. And then on your next inhale, come back up through all fours, back to downward facing dog. From here, on an inhale, step the left foot through the hands. And by the way, you can take a couple steps to get there if that helps. Even hand on the back of the ankle can help guide that foot forward. Make sure the left ankle is underneath the left knee. Turn your back foot down and rise up. And we'll come all the way up to straight legs. Readjust feet. So your front toes are pointed forward. Your left heel intersects your right arch. Inhale, arms up. Good. Exhale, bend into that left knee. And then flow out. Inhale, straighten front leg. As you exhale, bending into the left knee. As you inhale, come back up. Exhale. Inhale, rise. Next time we come into that bent front knee, we'll stay. So bending into left knee. Take a breath in to think about lengthening up through the spine. Let your gaze settle over the middle finger of your front hand. So your gaze is pointed at one spot. Breathe in. Exhale. And take one more breath in. And then windmill those hands down either side of the front foot. Step forward to the front of the mat, Uttanasana, forward fold. Let your head shake out a little bit. Maybe those lips want to buzz again. Shoulders can shake a little side to side. Bending the knees. Inhale again, arms sweep forward. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart. Release the hands. Once again, step feet together. Firm legs. Inhale, arms sweep up, interlace fingers, Kali Mudra. So fingers interlace, pointer finger towards the sky. Breathe in. Exhale over to the left. Maybe open the mouth, get that ha sound going. Inhale back to center. Exhale, just like you're fogging a mirror with your breath. Inhale, we come back to center. We'll repeat. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Heading to W arms. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Inhale, stretch up. As you exhale, it's as if those shoulders pull down, yet the sternum lifts. We're going to do two more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Release hands. Take feet just a little bit wider. So now feet are hip distance width apart. Inhale, arms up, shoulder height. And then plug your arm bones into the socket and take your right arm underneath your left arm. Bend the elbows back so the hands will touch, or maybe palms come towards one another. And then bend your knees just a little bit. You can go really deep if you want, but just at least a little bend here. As we inhale, we're going to seek to move our chest towards our elbows and lift the gaze. And then as you exhale, it's like you're pulling your chest away from your elbows, tucking chin towards chest. So inhale, heart towards elbows, gaze lifts towards the sky. As you exhale, pull chest back, tuck chin. And do two more of these. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Good. Release those arms. Shake out the arms a little bit. Bring feet back together. Inhale, arms up. Interlace fingers, Kali Mudra. As you exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, we come through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now we do W. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. That's one. Good. Let your arms come up, shoulder height. Plug arm bones into the socket. Now it's the left arm underneath the right. Elbows bend, backs of the hands or palms come together. Again, you might choose to bend your knees just a little bit here. Cat, it's like a cat-cow with eagle arms. Inhale. It's as if your chest is pressing towards your elbows. Heart lifts. As you exhale, pull the heart back. There might be very little movement here, but trying to get as much as you can, chest towards elbows. As you exhale, now it looks like you're rounding through your upper back, your chest tucks. Two more of these. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Now unleash the arms, just let them come out to the side, shake them out a little bit. We're trying to open up this heart region. In fact, do this, just make sure you're not gonna take your neighbors out, but a couple circles forward, back. If you were a swimmer, you know, this is how swimmers often warm their shoulders up. Yeah, and then that looks good too. Maybe start to twist a little bit, side to side. Now we're finally getting that chest and heart open. All right. Let's do one more beautiful sun salute and then we'll go into some more heart opening work. So coming back to front of the mat, feet hip distance width apart. All right, let's really work mountain pose. Feet pressing down, toes spread. Let your buttocks move back a little bit. So stick your seat back. Get a nice big curve with your low back. And think about your tailbone anchoring down so you get a nice neutral spine. From here, lengthen up. Now feel those shoulders roll back. We've been working on opening that chest. Sternum is slightly lifted, palms face forward. All right, on an inhale, sweep the arms up. On an exhale, fold forward. Let the head go. Now inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, fold. Beautiful. Step your left foot back, deep lunge. I'm going to turn our back foot down and rise up one last time. Front heel intersects the back arch. Start with straight legs. Inhale, arms up, shoulder height. Breathe in. Exhale, bend into that right knee. Track that right knee directly over the ankle. Inhale, come up and out. Exhale, bend into the front knee. That right knee tracks to the right. Make sure it stays over the ankle. Inhale. If your knee wants to go forward of your ankle, take your back foot farther back. Just take your stance a little wider. All right, now the next time we bend into that front knee, we'll stay. And then transition to side angle, right forearm to right thigh, left arm up in alignment with the ear. And so really stamp that left foot down. Feel your right sit bone draw under a little bit. Lengthen through your right side. Take a breath in. As you exhale, maybe just a little rotation of the navel up towards the spine. You guys are doing great. Breathe in. Good. On this exhale, hands release down either side of the front foot. You step back to down dog. Fingers are spread, hands press down into the mat. You're actively pressing your hands down into the mat. Spine is growing longer, thighs moving back. On an inhale, come forward, shoulders over wrist, plank pose. On an exhale, hips back to dog. Inhale, forward plank. Exhale, back to dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower down, all the way down onto your belly. This time, keep your hands right in alignment with your chest. Your feet can go as wide as feels good for your low back. Inhale, we're gonna curl up into a little cobra pose. Hands pressed down, shoulders draw back, and then exhale, lower. So we're gonna move in and out again. Inhale, rising up, shoulders back. It's like your bottom tips of those shoulder blades are trying to squeeze together. Exhale, lower. Again, inhale, we rise up, shoulders back, heart forward. And exhale. Last one here. Feel your feet anchored, pubic bone anchored. Rise up, shoulders back, heart forward. And then exhale, lower down. Come back up through all fours. Back up to down dog. When you're ready, on an inhale, step your left foot between your hands, deep lunge. Back foot turns down, rise up. And adjust feet. Maybe play around with a slightly wider stance this time. Just experiment with that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend into the left knee. Inhale, we rise up and out. Good. Exhale, bend, left knee's tracking to the left. Inhale. Exhale. One more time, rising up. This time as we settle into that front knee, bend into the front knee, left forearm to left thigh. Extend that right arm up, right bicep right in alignment with ear. Yep. Rotate your pinky finger down towards the floor. Yes. Take a breath in. Exhale, sink into that left hip, maybe just a little deeper. This time on this next exhale, maybe just a little twist of your navel up towards the sky as you keep grounding your right foot down. Breathe in. Now exhale, hands either side of the front foot. Now stay here, pause here. You can use blocks if you like. We're going to take a journey, walking our hands to the right. So you're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. You'll certainly have blocks underneath your hands if that's useful for you. And again, you might experiment going wider with your feet than you might typically do. But check into your feet. I want your feet to slightly toe in. So these are no ballerina feet here. Feet are slightly toed in, or they're parallel. The edges of the feet are parallel to the edges of the mat. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Head is releasing down. So instead of needing to hold the head up, could you let the head release? Legs are nice and firm. So it's as if you're hugging the muscles to the bones. You feel the strength of your legs. And those thighs, upper thighs, keep rooting back. Those of you who are a little more advanced, you might work with feeling the belly lift up. It's as if the navel is lifting up towards the spine, and just bringing that belly in gives you a little more space to fold deeper, maybe crown of the head, and really start to telescope now down towards the mat. Also, a little more weight towards the inner edges of the feet can be an interesting awareness. Stay with your breath. See if you can stay with the sound of the breath. And maybe even let the breath slow down. Imagine that any stress in the body is dripping off the spine. The feet have gotten quite wide. We can heel toe the feet back together. In a moment, we're going to prepare to come out of it together. So if your feet feel really wide, you can bring them back together a little bit. Hands come to your pelvis and just pause with your hands on the pelvis in the forward fold. Now, bring the elbow points in towards one another. So this is going to bring those shoulder blades really connected onto the back. With your hands on your pelvis, press the pelvis down. Inhale, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. If you feel at all dizzy as you rise up, tuck the chin. Let your pelvic floor lift, and then we'll heel toe feet back together underneath you. Take a moment just to stand in mountain pose. So feet hip distance width apart. I don't care which direction you stand. Your eyes will be closed or your gaze will be soft, horizon level. We just take a moment to stand in our full height, sort of our full light and power. Strong legs, lifted heart, steady gaze. So what do we do in this pose? We embody the mountain. There's a natural steadfastness with the mountain. So I want you to see if you can actually feel that in your own system. If it's been a fast moving, busy, stressful, overwhelming week, it's really powerful just to feel the steadiness of a mountain. Take a breath in and then exhale, release. We're going to make our way onto our backs. Bring the feet wide, turn your toes out. Try to move down through malasana or squat pose. If this is hard on your knees, don't do it, but otherwise we're going to squat all the way down. Hands in front of the heart. Plug the legs in towards the upper arms, lengthen up through the crown. Take a deep breath. Exhale, we'll stay here. Inhale again, really lengthening through the spine. And then as you exhale, hands can come behind you. Sit back, extend the legs long. Let your knees bounce just a little bit. Baddha Konasana. You've got an extra blanket. I only have a rolled blanket, but if you have a folded blanket, you might just slip that blanket underneath your pelvis, just the edge of a blanket. Coming into Baddha Konasana, just a nice little final hip opener. Soles of the feet together, holding on to the ankles, or maybe interlacing your fingers underneath the feet. Feel your low back slightly move in and up. So seek to sit nice and tall. Now, we can often, just by sitting tall, feel more sensation in the body. I want you to think about this left knee extending to the left just a little more. And then it's as if your right knee is extending to the right. So instead of forcing knees down towards the floor, can you think about your knees expanding out laterally? Yeah, and then if some of you like to let your butterfly wings move, you certainly can do that. And then if anyone wants more sensation, add a forward fold. So as you forward fold, your elbows might conveniently guide those shins down towards the floor. If you're in the forward fold, on an inhale, rise up. Take your hands to the outsides of the knees, guide the knees together. Lengthen the legs long. If you are on a blanket, take it off to the side. Let your heels come all the way up towards the very front edge of the mat. Pull the flesh away from your buttocks. Let your arms be parallel to the floor, and then turn your palms towards the sky. And then turn them back. Notice what happens in the chest, in the upper back. And then as you turn those palms, notice the opening. Now we tuck the chin towards the chest and we start to round through the upper back. We're going to come down very slowly onto our backs, but see if you can keep some muscular strength in the legs. Toes maybe are spread, and we come down nice and slow, and that's a lot of nice control. And then once you eventually reach, everything is down on the floor, bring your knees in towards your chest and rock a little bit side to side. Keeping the knees pulled in towards the chest, open the arms out to the side. Or maybe you could take cactus arms if you don't have the space for your arms to be in a T, and drop the legs down to the right. So a little supine twist here. The legs drop down to the right. You can certainly have a block under the legs. You could have a blanket under the legs. And then your gaze is out over that left shoulder. You can close the eyes. In this last hour, we've been seeking to just let our attention land in the body and with the breath. And so stay with your body and your breath. Notice where you feel this pose most in the body and bring your attention there. We're really, as yogis, we're really working to always learn to train our mind. Where do we want our mind to focus? It's a really important tool. Otherwise, the mind just takes us on a journey, and it's not always a very positive one. So we learn, I'm like going to keep coming back into my body and with my breath. And then as you follow your breath, really on this next exhale, use the exhale to go just a little deeper into this twist. And then on an inhale, you'll come out, knees come back to chest. Readjust your pelvis as you need to. Maybe hug your knees in towards your chest again, and then you'll take it the other direction. Legs drop down to the left, arms are out to the side. Gaze is out over your right shoulder. And near the end of class, as we near the end, this is again where the mind is like, oh, what's next? What's next? So just stay here, stay anchored in this moment. And the easiest way to stay in the moment is to stay in your body and with your breath. So as you continue to use this ability to focus where your attention is going to go, breathe into where this pose feels most alive for you, and use the exhale. Slow that exhale down. Imagine yourself breathing out the tension, stress, the holding, the tightness. And then follow your next exhale, fully release all the air in the lungs, go deeper into the twist. On an inhale, you'll come out. Adjust feet to the floor, knees out to the side. So we did Baddha Konasana. Now we're doing Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. So butterfly pose. And then feel the shoulders again, really work underneath you. So you get a big lift of the chest. And by the way, if there's would help for you to have a little blanket under the head, if that's best for your neck, you can certainly do that. We're going to stay here in Supta Baddha Konasana for just about a minute. So hands might rest on the abdomen. You might return to those deep diaphragmatic belly breaths, which again, it's been stressful for us. We're often not deeply breathing into our bellies. So again, using our consciousness, we can redirect. We can train our body how to breathe in the way it was sort of designed to breathe, which is diaphragmatically. Again, just enjoy that there's nothing you have to figure out. There's no one you have to text. There's nothing you have to do right now besides be present with your breath. It's such a gift. All you are is just you and your breath in this moment. And then from Supta Baddha Konasana, slowly bring your knees together and then begin to transition to our last pose here of Shavasana. So corpse pose. And again, use the props that would be helpful for you, maybe a blanket under the head. If you're on the cooler side, you might unfold one of the blankets and place it over the body. Legs are straight. Arms are at the side of the body, palms facing up. If this feels too vulnerable, palms up, you can always let your hands rest back on your abdomen, but ankles uncrossed, so the low back is even. Yeah, and if there's any final movements or stretches that you feel are important for you to do before you settle into the final rest, let your body do that.
So at this point in the practice, we've been always coming back to the body and breath. And now you actually even let that go. Shavasana is the ultimate release, the ultimate surrender. So now even you surrender your breath, you surrender following sensation in the body, and you just see if you can rest in awareness. There's nothing, again, to figure out. Just resting in awareness. Open, receptive body, open, receptive mind. So feel yourself take a deeper breath in. Pause the breath at the top. So just for a moment, hold the breath in at the top. And then as you exhale, any remaining tension in the body gets carried away. And you pause the breath at the bottom. So hold the breath out in stillness for a moment. And then big breath in again. And this time on the exhale, just a little movement in the fingers and the toes. You can take a stretch if you'd like. Eventually rolling off through one side. And slowly coming all the way back up to your seat. Take your time, no rush. Once you arrive on your seat, you might sit on a blanket or a block. Just get a little bit of elevation under your pelvis. Bless you. Hands in front of the heart. So useful for us after we've devoted an hour of our precious time to landing in our body. I think it's so important to really pause and notice the effect. So noticing how your body feels, observing. Maybe the mind might feel just a little more spacious. Maybe it's moving at a somewhat slower pace. And we did a lot of heart work today. So Feel your thumbs resting on your sternum and just let your heart feel that natural lift, that natural expansion towards your thumbs. And then take a breath in and bow inward, bow towards yourself, honor what it took to get here today. And the light in me bows to that light in you. Namaste. Thank you everyone for showing up today, for being here this afternoon. Hope you have a really great evening, and we'll see you maybe tomorrow morning. I'll be back if you want to join me tomorrow morning at 9. Otherwise, next Friday at 4, someone will be back for that as well. Thank you everyone for joining online as well. Thank you.